Now that the Minnesota Vikings officially, allegedly, for the love of God, please don't skip the wedding on Thursday, have their head coach in Kevin O'Connell, and it's time to look forward to the offseason. And yes, free agency will come first, but the draft. Draft is where it's at, man. Although the Rams sort of showed the draft, F those picks. But our guy Thor Nystrom over at NBC Sports Edge did up his mock draft 1.0. Thor, very heavy into college football, very heavy into the draft, and love and respect his opinion. So let's do the damn thing. Where do the Vikings go? They'll have a very interesting situation on their hands because, as we've said in a bunch of these mock drafts, there is a ton of talent that's just going to be on that bubble in the teens, especially if and when there is a run on quarterbacks, because there always is. I mean, there always is that quarterback tax. Evan Neal, Alabama, Jacksonville 1. I think that's really becoming in vogue, and it makes a lot of sense, although Jacksonville could go heavy after Armstead, Terran Armstead, the Saints left tackle in free agency. They got the money to do it. So maybe that alters things. Shouldn't, because you want to protect Trevor Lawrence no matter what. 2, Lions, Hutchinson, yes. 3, Texans. Ooh, Kevin Thibodeau going after things where they see this potentially as a Mario Williams situation from back in the day, 06, where they still need help on the edge. Davis Mills, for now, I think that Mills did enough his rookie year to take to get a second look year 2, where the Texans obviously see this as another whatever year. They saw last year as a 2 with Culley, this year with Lovey. Maybe they're just gearing up for the 2023 draft. Who knows? The Jets and Kyle Hamilton, well, this is sort of unpopular because a lot of people are like, why would you take a safety this high? Kyle Hamilton is that guy. Man, he's just that dude, that enforcer on the back end. He can hit, he can run, he can cover, he can direct traffic. He's a true leader out there. Even though he missed a couple games due to injury this season, he is that guy. And Rob Salah definitely needs a dude like that on the back end of his defense. I love it. Giants taking Ike Ekwonu from NC State, where they just keep chopping. They just keep throwing resources on the offensive line. Now, Andrew Thomas really came around, but, I mean, what do you do with Ekwonu? Do you start him at guard? Do you put him at right tackle? I don't know. 6, Carolina breaks the seal on quarterbacks going Kenny Pickett. They ain't concerned about the 8.5-inch hands, even though, like we said, Kenny Pickett with his double joint, I think you have to put an asterisk by that hand measurement, but it's whatever. But Carolina, even though they picked up the 5th-year option of Sam Darnold for reasons, Kenny Pickett, the pride of Pittsburgh, going down to Carolina. Now, could this be Malik Willis? It could be. I don't know. 7, Giants in the pick that they got from the Bears, David Ojabo. So they're getting after on both trenches. Andre Patterson working with Ojabo, baby, we're going to get a stew going, because whether he's hand in the dirt, whether he's stand up, whatever, he's going to get after the passer, and I do love that pickup by the Giants there. They're betting on potential. So I think Ojabo has a higher ceiling than, say, George Kalafdis of the Greek Freak or Jermaine Johnson, etc., but probably has a lower floor as well, but just a guy that is a heat-seeking missile on that edge that can get after it. I think that Ojabo will, I mean, he's still scratching the surface on his potential, because he didn't really see the time of day 2 years ago with Hutchinson and Kwity Paye. F you, pay me, but Ojabo's going to be that guy. 8, Atlanta. So this is the first I've really seen Atlanta going quarterback, and we made the case. I mean, Arthur Smith, how long can they roll with Matt Ryan and his decrepit ass just rotting on the bone, right? But Arthur Smith wants his own guy. He needs his own guy. Malik Willis, I think this is a perfect situation where Willis, even though his ceiling is high, I think his floor is pretty low, but being able to sit a year, maybe 2, behind an established quarterback, really getting into the rhythm of being a professional QB and working on things in training camp or preseason, a year or 2's worth, makes a lot of sense. So him as the heir apparent to Matt Ryan, love it. 9, Denver. So top 2 quarterbacks are off the board. Could they go Matt Corral here? Sure. Could they go Carson Strong here? It seems a little bit early, but going with Sauce Gardner in this spot where maybe they do pick up a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers or Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson, but then they probably wouldn't have this number 9 overall pick. Anyway, getting a cornerback of the caliber of Sauce Gardner, putting him opposite of Patrick Surtain. Oh, baby. My goodness, that's gross. Jets were their 2nd pick in the 1st round, getting Treylon Burks, a wide receiver out of Arkansas. I love Treylon. Like, absolute power forward, A.J. Brown clone, having him and Corey Davis and Elijah Moore. I love me some John Moore as well. They're getting things going. Also, remember, the Jets have Denzel Mims. even though he hasn't quite been working out. What can you do? 11, Washington, going QB, and of course, they don't get the top two guys, but Matt Corral coming out of Mississippi. I do like his leadership. I do like his moxie. I think that he certainly could get after it in D.C., but he's like a souped-up version of Taylor Heineke, which is kind of ironic. Whatever. 12, Vikings. I understand that Vikings fans would have reservations about taking an undersized center in the teens again in the first round, but Tyler Linderbaum, the pride of Iowa, is that freaking guy, man. Here's the write-up. Under new management, the Vikings plans could drastically sway if a radical new approach is decided upon and Kirk Cousins is traded. Assuming Minnesota stays the course and tries to patch its short-term holes, fixing the badly leaking interior offensive line is a must. At minimum, one new starting guard is needed. Beyond that, former first-rounder center Garrett Bradbury, who has spent more time in Kirk Cousins' lap than Cousins' infant children, which is just... That's a Pulitzer line, man. I love it. Cannot be trusted. Number 29 overall graded center in PFF. Linderbaum could either replace Bradbury or start alongside him at guard on a 1-year make good proposition. Linderbaum is coming off the most dominant center season in PFF graded history and is certainty personified. You could go a lot of different routes here. Cornerback, yes. Wide receiver, yes. Maybe even dipping into the quarterback market, even though I wouldn't with the top 3 off the board. But Linderbaum, he is that guy. And you're going to check that box off. Like Thor said, you could start him at guard. I would just start him at center since Bradbury isn't going to be part of your long-term plans anyway. And get a guy like Wyatt Davis on the field. Let Ezra still develop and marinate at that left guard spot. But Linderbaum, 6'3", 290, has got the frame to add weight as well. I think that he could probably add 10, 15 pounds in the pros, but he is an outside zone savant. The Vikings are probably going to stick with that wide zone with Kevin O'Connell coming in from the Rams, ran a very similar running system there. Chris Modkins, also the Broncos, ran a lot of outside zone, so there's still going to be a premium on athleticism with your linemen, and a guy that's such a great leader, a 3-year starter at center for Iowa, a 95.4 PFF grade in 2021. Like I said, one of the greatest PFF seasons in history. He has a career 0.9% pressure rate. 0.9 of the pass blocking snaps he's allowing a pressure, which is amazing. Had allowed dose career sacks over 3 years as a starter with the Hawkeyes. So he can get after it. And yes, I do understand. Well, it's another undersized guy. He won't be pushed around. Technique-wise, he's light years ahead of where Bradbury was coming out of NC State. His mobility is up there with the Grim Reacher coming out of college as well. So I understand, and I do love this pick. So fixing something that it needs to be fixed right away. Set it and forget it. You're going to be good to go. And then rest of the draft. So Cleveland getting the Greek Freak to put opposite of Myles Garrett. Gross. Baltimore, Trent McDuffie. McDuffie plays like a Raven. Like, he plays Raven-style football. He gets after it. We've already dubbed him Antoine Winfield Sr. 2.0. He's that guy. But also, he's 5'11". Let's see here. Eagles, first of 3 first-round picks. So they go Devin Lloyd, Derek Stingley Jr., and Jermaine Johnson. My God, just completely remaking that defense in one draft. That's insane, baby. I love it. 17 Chargers, Charles Cross, where you may even make a case that Charles Cross is a top 2 tackle in this draft, where physical specimen for days. You could kick him over to right side, put him opposite of Rashawn Slater. Yeah, Saints. Now, it's a bad beat for the Saints that the top 3 quarterbacks are off the board. You could see them reaching for a QB here, but Chris Olave is suturing up that wide receiver spot. I don't believe that they're not going to trade Michael Thomas. I think that they will. I think they have to get rid of that salary. There you go. Eagles, like I mentioned, Jermaine Johnson, who really helped himself at the Senior Bowl. Pittsburgh. Again, another bad beat here where top 3 quarterbacks off the board. You could see Pittsburgh trading up. I do think that the Saints and the Steelers are prime trade-up candidates, trying getting a QB in this draft. But Trevor Penning, another guy who really did himself some favors at the Senior Bowl. Their offensive line is mush, and they never really replaced Villanueva. So Penning, yes. New England, Jordan Davis. It just seems like a New England pick. They just sit back and value comes to them. Jordan Davis, first interior defensive lineman off the board. Also, I think that his teammate Devontae Wyatt could be up there as well. But Jordan Davis becoming the new version of Vince Wilfork there, where him and Christian Barmore working together. Come on, gross. 22. Vegas. This is a popular proposition where they need to replace the speed on the outside because Ruggs, yes. Garrett Wilson, G-Dub, Ohio State. He's got speed, also can work from the slot. He's dynamic after the catch. 23, Arizona. Maybe they need a quarterback, depending on what happens with that mess with Kyler. But Devontae Wyatt on the inside. They certainly could go edge. They certainly could go cornerback as well. They're probably going to lose Chandler Jones. I mean, J.J. Watt is a shell of himself, whatever. Yeah. 24, Dallas. The Cowboys' offensive line was so good for so long. I think they get by on inertia and reputation, but the offensive line this year, or last couple years for the Cowboys, has not been great. But Zion Johnson coming on in, replacing Connor Williams would make a ton of sense here. Love me some ZJ. Also, he's worked at center at the Senior Bowl. 25, the Bills. Yeah, why not give the Bills another wide receiver? Drake freaking London, man. A power forward, if there ever was one. They're probably going to lose Emmanuel Sanders. Who knows if Cole Beasley will be back. But Stephon Diggs, and also you got Gabe Davis, the pride of UCF, really stepping up. So you got Gabe Davis, who's 6'5". You got Drake London, who's 6'5". Josh Allen, who's 7 feet tall, just chucking it up. I mean, and then you got Diggs working underneath for everything. I love it. I do love it. 26, Tennessee Titans. Their linebacker core is going to get washed out in free agency, but Nakobe Dean, he's undersized, but he's a great leader. He is that dude where, you know, in terms of the tenacious leader in the middle, slightly undersized guy, but great speed and just gets after it. You do see a little bit of Ray Lewis in Nakobe Dean. I know that's high praise. That's a high perch, but I mean, Dean's a guy. He's a stud. 27, the Bucks. Kyle Trask, no. So Sam Howell, come on down. A little bit of YOLO all up in there. Now, I do like Sam Howell. I don't love him. There's just something I can't place where Howell was great 2 years ago when he had all of his weapons in Carolina, but then just really took a step back last year. Sort of is what it is. 28, Packers. Greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers. Now, could be wide receiver. There's still some great wide receivers on the board. Jameson Williams will make a lot of sense here. Also, could potentially have to go after edge rusher since they're probably going to cut both of the Smith brothers. But Kenyon Green, interior offensive line, where, the offensive line had injuries and Rona issues last year, but they were kind of poopy. They were. So Kenyon Green, who's probably the best guard in this draft. Well, for me, he is going to Green Bay. That kind of sucks, but now he's dead to me. The Dolphins, so the Dolphins are in a weird spot where they need to try and win and rack up and stack up some games, and mainly because Chris Greer needs to try and save his job. But Mike McDaniel coming in, I think that he wants to get as many great offensive pieces as possible. And Jameson Williams, even though he's probably going to start the season on the pup with that ACL, he's got speed for days. Probably would have been wide receiver 1 if he didn't get hurt. So this is great value at 29. The Chiefs. So they're probably going to lose Mike Hughes as well as their other cornerback in free agency. So Carl Lamb in his spot does make sense. 31, Cincy. Offensive line. Just all offensive line. Bernard Raymond from Central Michigan, another great Senior Bowl guy. Dude who's really rising up. I think that at the Combine he'll really destroy some things and maybe even move up into the teens or at least the 20s in this draft. But Cincy in this spot, getting Raymond, yeah, absolutely. Just your first 3 picks and free agency dollars should all go towards offensive line because that's where your issues are. And then lastly, the Lions. So they already got Hutchinson at 2. Getting Andrew Booth Jr. out of Clemson, another great cornerback. Put him opposite of a healthy Jeff Okudah, and the baby, they're going to have a stew going on defense there. But I go mention 12, Linderbaum. I understand it's not sexy. I understand you're a little bit of reservations because of Bradbury, but do it. Just do it. The best interior offensive lineman is available at 12. Just get him and let's go. Move on with life. But your thoughts are thoughts. Take a look at our guy Thor Nystrom, NBC Sports Edges, Mock Draft 1.0, Vikings Go offensive line. Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.